After the last 2 videos, I decided I'd had enough of reviewing books that I hated. So I've cleansed my soul and I'm back, and this time I'm going to review books that I love to pieces, little tiny pieces of wonderfulness. So, here we go. So, this is it. Hello. Well, obviously it's the Hunger Games. Duh, what the book will I be talking about? The cover obviously isn't quite what you're used to. That's because this baby is a proof, which I read mid-2008, because I think this one came out in the UK in 2009. Hunger Games, which is followed by Catching Fire, which is then followed by Mockingjay. These books are incredible. In all seriousness, I have not read anything anywhere close to being as good as these. Before we get into all the waffle and gumph of me gushing like a crazy person, let's talk about the plot. America has been split into 12 districts, and possibly every year we have this thing called the Hunger Games. Shocking. And it's basically a competition, is a nice way of putting it. Death match is probably a more accurate term for it. And what happens is 2 kids from every district get picked and dumped in some kind of wilderness, whatever they decide for that year, and they have to duke it out to the death. Oh, it's so wrong. And yeah, so that's it. And the reason why they have to do this is because the powers that be, the guys that run the show, who everyone seems to refer to as the capital, that's like the centre of the awfulness, and there was an uprising sometime before the events in this one, and District 13 decided they'd had enough, which is understandable, and they decided to try and overthrow the powers that be. The district was turned to rubble, pretty much, just destroyed, and District 13 is down anymore, and as kind of punishment and as proof that the capital is the ultimate power in the universe, or whatever, they hold these games and say, we own your lives, look what we can do to your children, no, we're evil. They chucked one boy and one girl from the ages of 12, I think it's to 17, possibly older, 19 maybe, I can't quite remember, and yeah, they just have to kill each other. And she's pleasant. So our main character, who is awesome, but I'll get to her later, Katniss Everdeen, finds herself thrown into the Hunger Games with another boy, obviously from a district called Peter, who is a baker. Don't know why I say it like that. Don't like it. Stupid hair. Get off my face! There we go. Plop, 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 plop. Now on to the good stuff. Yeah, just a staggering piece of, not just teen fiction, a staggering piece of fiction. I would defy anyone to read these and not, I wouldn't say love, because I don't think they're those kind of books, because the subject is so traumatising in a way that I don't know if you can fall in love with them, but you can definitely feel moved and gripped and everything else by it. The last one, my trend sunshine! I'm just going to move on and hopefully I'll be able to edit it together and it'll seem fine. It's not difficult to feel a connection with the characters, and because this plot is so pacey and gripping, I've never experienced anything quite like it reading a book. I know people always say things like, oh, this book made me feel so blah 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 and it changed my life forever. No, I can honestly say I've never experienced that with a book before. What was said when I read these ones? Yeah, quite literally, I felt everything these characters went through. Especially Katniss. She's the main girl. She's put through so much, and actually, Katniss as a character is, I think I've got to make her my favourite. It's between her and Rochelle from the Demon Child trilogy, and they're kind of a similar vein. They're both strong. I don't know what I'm doing with this. They're very similar characters in the way they're made. They both know what needs to be done, and they will pretty much do anything to see it achieved, and no matter what that entails. And they've got the same kind of principle, as well as being the kind of people that others depend on, really dependable people. But at the same time, she has this amazing vulnerability that you see every now and then, and you know, she is broken down a lot by what happens and is extremely flawed. But that's human beings, that's what we are, and that's what's brilliant about these, is she hasn't tried to make this perfect heroic character. She said, no, imagine what you would feel like if you went through the things that poor Katniss is going through, and you try and hold on to your sanity. I'm not saying she goes crazy, but in certain moments in the book where she's got to face some pretty traumatising and shocking and quite awful things. And when this one came out, I got home from work at about 6:30. I sat down in my lounge, my TV on, and I ploughed through this mother trucker until I think it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I did not stop reading this. I couldn't. I quite literally couldn't. It got to about bedtime, and I think I still had like that much left, and I was like, no, I've got to keep reading. I have to find out what happens. And, oh, I was an emotional wreck by the time I finished it. Yes, I will admit. There were tears. I blubbed quite a lot, and it wasn't just because it's not that the ending was particularly sad. I don't want to give too much away because I want you to kind of go into it with your, without having other people's opinions inside your brain kind of corrupting what you might actually think of the book. But it's not that the ending is particularly sad. It's just it hit me not long from the end that I suddenly thought, oh my god, this is the last time I'm going to be reading about these characters. This is it. And that hit me. I was like, I don't want to say goodbye. And that is exactly what it was. I just felt so distraught that I was going to have to say goodbye to them because they're just so incredible that I was actually moved to flipping tears. I know, blub like a baby, and of course I was trying to go to bed. Trying to think to myself, go to sleep, and the events of the book are going over and over my head. I think there are some people who I know that read it, because I remember when the first one came out, I was like, read it or die! And so they've obviously continued with the other ones, because you can't read the first one without reading the second one. I defy you to read the first one and not want to continue. And they'd read the ending and they were like, but it's rubbish. How can you say it's rubbish? The only ending that could possibly have been, after everything that happened, nothing else, there could be no other ending basically, and it was perfect. That's what I was saying. So yeah, on the one hand you've kind of got this sadness of it coming to an end and that's it, the story being over, but at the same time you think, oh, relief, because this is it, nothing else is going to happen to these poor characters. You just want them to be happy because they've been through so much. Yeah, there we go, my garbled and gushy review of The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Just incredible. Incredible. I've run out of words to use to describe it. You will enjoy these books. I really do defy you to not love them. Okay, not love them, but defy you to not think these are the dog's bollocks, because they are! Literally. Big doggy bollocks. A lovely image. So, I don't think it's any surprise that I'm giving these my highest mark, which is 5 out of 5. You want to come say hello to the people on YouTube? I don't think she does. Ah! Alright, Batty. Look, this is my kitty. Say hello, Cleo. Say hello. Arse in face. Alright, you lot, I'm gonna bugger off now. I'll catch you again. Oh my god, my butt's stuck to the chair.